Jay here for Time Devils. One of my earliest football memories, Italian United was quite an early football memory, if I'm being honest. I was 10 at the time. I remember that quite well, watching the games on the telly and getting into it as well. But in terms of going to the games and being a Manchester United fan, I first went to a game in the mid-80s. I don't remember a lot about it other than Peter Shilton was in net. It was United versus Southampton. But one of my earliest memories of going to games was against Liverpool in the Rumbelows Cup. I think it was around 1990. We won 3-1. Mark Hughes scored an absolute worldie, and it was just a great feeling because at the time Liverpool winning everything, and as a kid growing up you used to seeing them winning all the trophies. So, you know, for us to beat them in the way that we did, and it was the time we started to become, you know, the Sir Alex Ferguson team that everyone respected. So yeah, it was great. Those were my earliest memories. I didn't have a choice, I'm not going to lie to you. My dad is and was a Manchester United fan. We used to live near the ground, and we used to walk to the ground when he took me, and he used to take me to midweek games. Grew up with it, thanks to him, a massive Manchester United household, and it's sort of something I've carried on now. My kids are all United fans. Started taking my eldest daughter to the game, so you know it's sort of that self-fulfilling prophecy, or whatever you want to call it. I mentioned it then, Rumbelows Cup. That's a League Cup. If anyone's wondering what the hell the Rumbelows Cup is, it's now the Carabao Cup. But it was a League Cup then in 1990. Time Devils came about in around 2012, I think. There was someone, a media company who's a United fan, who wanted to start a channel. There wasn't really any sort of YouTube channels for United fans at the time, so we did it. And they reached out to United fans who had some sort of presence on social media, or were bloggers, or were sort of known in the United community, shall we say. And I had a blog, and I wrote quite a few articles for different websites. So they got in touch, asked me if I wanted to do a pilot with them. I did it, and it just went from there really. And then I started appearing on fan cams and previews, and then I sort of became more heavily involved in the channel about a year ago, where I started doing some producing as well. So yeah, I've been involved since about 2013, I think, was when I very first got involved. And I've been on and off involved ever since, and as I said earlier, more recently, last year or so, quite heavily involved. I think giving more fans a platform is always a positive. I think, you know, we're living in an age where everyone is on social media. When I was growing up, it used to be fanzines that everyone used to sort of communicate with or read about United with. I used to sell the fanzines, used to sell United We Stand. Now people use social media to communicate, and fan TV is a big part of people's matchday experience. It's a big part of their connection to the club. I'm privileged, as I mentioned earlier. I used to walk to the ground, and I still live relatively near Old Trafford. Some people can't get to games, some people don't have that ability to get first-hand experience what the atmosphere is like, what it was like in the games. They get some of that through fan cams. And I think fan TV is just another side to being a fan. And you know, let's not forget the thing with fan TV as well. I've said this all the time. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. It's like anything. I'd rather you watched our channel. But if you're not into fan TV, then by all means, you know, watch something else. That's fair enough. But I think it is a positive thing that fan TV has become more prevalent, and I think, you know, it should be embraced and onwards and upwards, hopefully. I've interviewed players, more so in my old job. I'm a journalist by trade, and I was a journalist for 10 years. And during my time as a journalist, I interviewed Wayne Rooney a couple of times. I interviewed Brian Robson, which is a big highlight for me. He's one of my heroes growing up. So I'm trying to think. Dennis Law, he was before my time, but he was my dad's hero, so interviewing him was a big thing. Probably interviewing... I'd probably have to say Brian Robson when it comes to it, because when I was a kid, he was Captain Marvel, and he was the one everyone looked up to. So interviewing him was a big plus. On the channel, we've interviewed quite a lot of players as well. I wasn't on the interview, but Howson and McCullough did. Eric Cantona, I would have loved to have done that one. But yeah, we've interviewed Evra, we've interviewed Eric, we've interviewed Juan Mata, quite a few players. But yeah, for me, probably Brian Robson, when I was a reporter, was my highlight. Well, the thing with Time Devils is it's almost like a community. So there's lots of people that get involved, lots of people that help out. We have people that freelance that come in and work sometimes. We have people on work placement that help out. We have people, Nick, one of our producers, who's full time. So it's sort of like a rolling thing where, you know, for certain games, Nick will be the producer and the editor and the cameraman or the videographer. Other games will have other people that will come in just for that game. Other previews, we might shoot some of them at Steve Howson's studio. So it's a collective effort. So there's quite a lot of people involved across the board, really. Listen, it's a positive thing that people want to get involved in the fan cams, people that want to have an opinion. Yes, sometimes you do get a bit of stick, you've got people shouting out, especially if you've lost. That's never great, but I'm always willing to talk to people. If people got a criticism, I'm always up for having a chat with them. I've done that, you know, I don't shirk away from that. You know, you put yourself out there in the public eye, shall you say, in the fans' public eye, then you've got to be willing to take a bit of stick or be willing to speak to people who disagree with you. I'm always up for that. But on a match day, yeah, there's a real buzz around it. So usually a good one as well. You usually get good crowds around the fan cams. Everyone sort of sharing their opinions, and I love that part of Full Time Devils. Right, one of my highlights was recently the City game. Well, not say recently, the win at the Etihad in the league. Not the one in the League Cup, in the league. I don't tend to present the fan cams, that's how Adam McCullough, but he was away, so I did it, and it was great. You know, we beat City, which is massive. You know, I'm a Mancunian, it means a lot to me to beat them. And the fan cams were just brilliant. Everyone was jumping about, and it was great. I just love all that. So yeah, it was one of my highlights on Full Time Devils, that, to be honest with you. This is a weird one, this. There's a couple. One of them was Stockholm. I think the emotions of it, the Europa League final, we had obviously the tragic arena attack the day before. So there was quite a lot of emotion there to win the way we did as well, to get into the Champions League. The way that sort of night felt, it was weird. I've not been at a game like that, so it did feel good to have that bit of happiness after such a tragedy as well. Also, going back even further, in '93, when Steve Bruce scored those 2 late goals against Sheffield Wednesday, that was one of my games where I didn't have a ticket, and back in the day when they used to open the gates at Old Trafford with 15 minutes to go, you could walk in and go and sit down or whatever, go and stand and watch it. And we did that, me and my mates. I was only 13, saw them 2 late goals that helped us win our first Premier League title, which is pretty amazing. When I was a kid, it was Paul Ince. I know a lot of people don't like him now because he went to the Scousers, but he was my player growing up that I loved. Then it probably became Keane. I was a big Keane fan, still am. Loved Roy Keane. Eric was another one. And then more recently, at the minute, I just love Marcus Rashford. I love everything about him. I love the way he sort of silenced his critics. I love what he does off the pitch. I love the fact he's come through the youth. I love the fact he's a local lad. Don't make any bones about that. Always good to see a local lad come through. So yeah, just Marcus is one that I'm really enjoy seeing, and I'm hoping that Mason Greenwood could be someone in the future as well that becomes a firm favourite, because he looks like he's got all the attributes you want. I am a fan of Ollie. He's not got everything right. He's made some mistakes, especially against the smaller teams. You know, we should be beating Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, Newcastle, Burnley and Palace. But he's got a lot right. We're on a good run just before the break. The signings have been positive. He's moving the club in the right direction. And I think he may just be the right man for the job. I think he's earned the right to have another full season, however that may come about. And then we'll see how he gets on. But it's not always binary. It's not always that Ollie in or Ollie out. You back the manager if you think he's the right man for the job and you support him. But I think, you know, he deserves patience. He deserves time. And no matter what happens as a manager, he'll always be a club legend. 100% agree. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic signing. He's made everyone others raise the game. He's fitted in perfectly. And I'd love to see him and Paul Pogba play alongside each other. I don't know if that'll happen. But Bruno is an absolute talent. And long may it continue. I doubt it. I don't really think he will stay at United long term, but if he does, I'll be happy. If he stays and he's focused, great. If he stays because no one will come in for him, then that's not so good. But I don't know. I probably think Paul Pogba's going to move on, and it probably is time for him to move on, to be honest with you. But if he does stay, I hope to see him and Bruno playing alongside each other, because I think that'd be a great midfield too, with just one holding midfielder behind him. I'm sick of these 2 holding midfielders nonsense. We have to wait and see. It's too soon to tell. So much going on. You know, we're still at the time of recording, we're still in lockdown, so we'll see. But I hope that I hope common sense prevails and we don't rush it, or we don't just sort of, oh, quick, let's get it done quickly just to get it done. You know, it has to be done properly. Just did a podcast. We're talking about it. I would love it if we bought Thomas Partey, but I don't think it'd happen. Jadon Sancho, I'd love to see come in. Maybe Jack Grealish, any of those players. I think more than likely, I think Jadon Sancho and at least one other, whether that's Grealish or maybe James Maddison. And the talk was getting a striker as well if Igalo goes, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, 100% want to keep growing. It can never get big enough. You know, there's millions of United fans worldwide, and we like to reach out to as many as we can, get as many of them on the channel as we can. If you do want to be a part of Full Time Devils, you know, our door is always open, so get involved. Daniel, you know, you've been getting involved, doing some great stuff with us, some great articles, which we're very pleased with, and we do appreciate. So yeah, you know, hopefully Full Time Devils, like Manchester United, just keeps getting bigger and better.